Hi, and welcome to the Inland Northwest Wine Reviews Wine School. I'm Chloe,
I'm Seth.
and today we're going to talk about the main tools you need to really dive into wine tasting. Before we get into really going into detail about how to taste wine, you kind of need some tools to get you started. So we're just going to really highlight those, talk about them briefly, and then the next time we get together, we'll start actually tasting wine. So, Seth, when people are getting ready to kind of really get into wine and learn more about it, what are some of the things that you recommend that they have?
First of all, I just want to start off with your basic stuff. So, one of the most important tools to have is just a wine opener. You can get something as simple as this, which is just essentially your basic waiter's corkscrew, which is really easy to use and really easy to, it's small enough to you can carry it around with you. Or or there's other options such as, um,
A wine toolkit,
yeah,
maybe?
yeah, that's even better. It comes with a lot of different stuff.
Yes, I find that I have a hard time using the waiter's corkscrew, so one of these rabbit type things seems to work really well for me. I
Um,
know some people saber their wine, but leave that to the pros.
yeah, and then also don't forget the wine glass. Definitely need that. It always helps to have a good glass. Um,
So, do you have to have one with a stem, or can you do one of those stemless wine glasses if you're looking to be tasting at home?
it's up to you, but I would if you're when you're tasting, I'd recommend a stem just so your hand doesn't heat up the wine if you're tasting it red, because the more the wine is by itself, um, the better. So you're not going to affect the flavor or temperature. So it kind of keeps the wine in its pristine way. So,
Right.
also, some people like to take notes when they're drinking wine or tasting wine. So, it's always good to have a little journal. So, like for example, you can have something like this or something like that.
Or even just a regular notebook or something to take notes on. I think the first time I went to a tasting room, I didn't have anything with me, so I used their tasting notes to take my own notes. But so basically, pencil, paper is what we're going for. But these are kind of fun to have as well.
And I like to do this, but sometimes after you taste wine, it's fun to go research some of the wines you like. So I've got a bunch of wine books. Like for example, this one's Wines of the Southern Hemisphere. So it's always fun to go check out and read about the different regions and see what experts think about them and learn more about the wines that you've been drinking.
And when it comes to the different kind of wine research materials, if you're really unsure about what kind of wine you like and what kind of book, it might be good to start at like a library or some kind of lending thing, like a neighborhood lending library or something, so that you can kind of leaf through these different books and feel like, oh, yeah, I do want to learn about wines in a certain hemisphere, or you know what, I want to focus just on the wines near my house or whatever the case might be. So don't feel like you have to go out and buy a book. You can always check one out at your public library.
Yeah, and also magazines such as Food and Wine or Bon Appetit are always a good way to learn about certain wines because they're always
Mm,
highlighted in their magazines. So
good. You can always just slip through it while you're at the checkout line.
that's true. But those don't have to spend anything.
Yes.
Um, Also, but last but not least, don't forget the most important part of the tasting is your wine. So, which is always comes in handy when you're trying to taste something.
And I would say when you first start out tasting, don't feel like you need to run out and buy the most expensive bottle. One of the things we'll talk about as we go through our courses is expensive doesn't always mean the best. So if you are unsure, just buy a bottle of wine maybe that you're familiar with that fits in with your budget at the time. Maybe you've tried it before, maybe you haven't. That's okay. But just start where you're comfortable and where your budget allows.
Yeah, because as we'll learn later on, that price doesn't always mean that it's really good. So sometimes the cheapest wines are the best in some cases.
Like a little Easter egg.
Yeah.
So today, now that you know all of the tools to have, make sure you get those and have those ready and your glass of wine, because the next time we're together, we're going to dive into actually tasting, and we're going to take some time to go through the whole step-by-step process so that when you're in a group, you're tasting some wine, you'll look like a pro.
Sounds good to me. I'm getting thirsty.
Yes. Well, have a good one, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.